Welcome to Risky Routes from Las Vegas, Nevada. Risky Routes is a short interview series with executives and leaders that focuses on the pivotal experiences that shape how they think and lead. We talk about the chaotic, uncomfortable, borderline bad idea journeys that push people to level up, trust themselves, and take control of their lives. And I'm your host, Olivia Goldstein. Today, I'm joined by Kimberly Trueba. Kimberly is the CEO of Girl Scouts of Southern Nevada. She's a former Disney Imagineer and entrepreneur whose career has been built around creating experiences that people just don't forget. Kimberly spent more than a decade at Walt Disney, helping shape the guest experiences at Disney parks before taking the leap to launch her own design firm, where she led hospitality and lifestyle projects all around the world. In 2018, she brought that same philosophy to Girl Scouts of Southern Nevada, transforming the organization through storytelling and experiential design, including helping to secure the largest private property gift in Girl Scouts USA history. Kimberly believes that storytelling isn't just a creative tool, it's a leadership strategy. Today, we'll explore how travel, place, and stepping into entirely new worlds have helped shape the way she leads and the experiences that she creates for others. Thank you so much for joining me on Risky Routes. So I'm very excited to meet you and also do this because as I was researching your background, one thing stood out to me, and it's the fact that you're an Imagineer, and
yes.
Which is so fun. It's like every child. I feel like so many children's dreams, right? It's like young kids you admire. A lot of people want to work at Disney growing up, and for me, it's like I just remember when I first turned 15. Like the very first job I applied to was a job at the Disney store at the mall, but they wouldn't hire me because I was too young. So it's like it's always been throughout my life and my career a brand that I've like loved. Mm-hmm. So as I was looking at your background, you graduated from school, you grew up in Kansas, and your very first job was you picked up and you moved to Florida to go work for Disney.
Yes, I did.
Would love to like hear that story and kind of how you wound up there.
Well, really, really interesting. I knew I wanted to study architecture since I was 4. Maybe. My dad's an architect.
Did you play with Legos? Like, how did you know that?
Oh, I built, he gave me all his scraps from his projects and a big bottle of Elmer's glue, and I just, like, they probably didn't look like anything, but he made me feel like I could do anything.
I love that.
So I was building models under his desk in his studio, and I just knew when I was 4, that's what I wanted to do, and I would draw floor plans for all of my family members and friends for, what do you want in your home? And I'd draw floor plans of their homes that, someday they would build. But I knew I wanted to be an architect. And so when I went to school, our program was 5 years. Okay. And the 4th year we had the opportunity to study abroad or to do an internship. Okay. And I'm like, I'm going to go study abroad. Yeah. And my dad's like, no, you're not. You're going to get a job. And this was the time of during Desert Storm. And I, of course, as a college student, I wasn't quite sure what that meant from a job perspective. And I picked 2 cities to send my resume. Okay. Chicago and Atlanta, sent several resumes to both firms in both cities. And then I had a meeting with my professor, and he said, Kimberly, he's like, you need to send more out. And I'm like, do I? Do I really? Because I just want to be in those 2 cities. He's like, you need to expand it and send and he was just on me, like, you got to send more out. And I go, well, I really just want to study abroad. But he said, send more out. And I said, well, I don't know where else to send them. Yeah. I said, and so I sat there and I remembered somebody in my dad's office saying they had worked at Disney, and I thought, okay, he's not going to know anybody at Disney. Yeah. And so I just blurted it out and I said, okay, do you know anybody at Disney? And he's like, oh, yeah.
He's like, boy, do I.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I didn't know then, but I absolutely know now, and maybe halfway through my career, how important it is to ask. Yeah. Because if you don't ask, you will not receive. And so a lot of people, especially females, at that age are either they just don't ask because they're often told no.
Yeah.
Or it's that sort of perception, or that what they've grown up with is they just don't ask because they get either overlooked or not taken seriously.
Totally.
And so I asked, and I go back to that moment. I can see his hair. He had this crazy white hair, big mustache. And I remember him opening up this file drawer. It had no organization whatsoever, and probably 200 business cards in the bottom of it. And he sorted through there and pulled out a business card and said, "Send your resume here."
Wow.
And so I did. And before I knew it, I had HR calling. They scheduled a flight, an interview, and I went down for an interview. And I love telling this story because like transparency is me, and I don't know. I think a lot of people at that age in college think they can do it all on their own. I certainly did. And I was extremely introverted. But I didn't make a lot of decisions without my parents.
No, as most people don't, right? It's like you're entering into the workforce for the first time too, right?
You're trying to pretend like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I went.
There's nothing wrong with that.
For the interview, and they wanted to come along. I was like, okay, so they came along. I had my interview, and my mom and dad said, "Oh, so how did it go?" And I said, it went great. They offered me a job. My mom like, "Oh my God, what'd you say? You took it right." And I was like, "Well, I told them I need to think about it." And my dad goes, "Yeah, good girl." He's like, "Good girl." My mom's like, "What?" And so I said, "Well, I'm going to ask for more."
I love that.
I mean, and I've had a career of like where I've always thought, I can't ask for that. Early in my career, I can't really ask for that. But somewhere in my life, that boldness came, and I really do think it's full circle. It was when I was a Girl Scout.
Okay. See, I was going to say it has to tie into what you learned as a Girl Scout.
It does. And this job that I've been doing for 8 years is not something I ever envisioned doing. It just was a point in my career where I was like, I am reflecting on my life and everything in my life. I've had incredible opportunities through my career, and I wanted to share those with young girls.
Yes.
And just and tell them they can dream big, right?
Yes.
I want to share with them like the experiences I had at Disney. We're designing and creating environments for people to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people are coming to Disney with their life saved, like they've saved for
something
years.
They've looked forward to for a long time.
Yes.
Totally.
And it was our responsibility to deliver an experience. Now, I wasn't in operations. I was on the development. I was in Walt Disney Imagineering. So we designed and created those spaces.
Yes.
And every detail matters.
Yes.
And that experience really fueled everything that came
your whole
after.
career after. So there is so much I want to unpack there, because you are just, I feel like I don't want to say a natural born leader, because it's probably a lot of it equated to both what you grew up in and the experiences that were rooted into you at a very young age. But I want to go to Disney first and start there. So you get off the plane. You end up taking the job, obviously.
Yes, I did.
You worked there.
I asked for more, and they said no, and I said, okay, I'll take the job.
Yeah, it's all right. It's worth a shot.
It's an internship.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. But you ended up working there for about a decade, right? And at a really cool time. So were there any unique projects that stood out to you during that time that you worked on that you're really proud of?
So many. And I think that anybody who worked for Disney or Walt Disney Imagineering at the time in the 90s would all say it was the best time. Every single month seemed to be a celebration of something new.
Yes.
Of something new. Like that was the time Disney acquired ABC. They acquired a lot of different businesses. And the projects I worked on, I was working on hotels and restaurants. I was in charge, my first project was the very first vacation club. It was the Old Key West Vacation Club. I did that that's my project my internship was the Yacht and Beach Club, which was next to the Epcot and next to Swan and Dolphin. So I worked with Robert Stern, and I was responsible for all the interior design, the landscape, the graphic design, met with Robert Stern himself to do quality control walks.
Incredible.
That was amazing. And then when
learning from literally the best,
like
at
learning
such
the best,
like incredible,
the best.
Yeah.
And so as an Imagineer, like I couldn't trade that for anything. I was working with architects and designers and contractors and specialists in their field from all over the world. And so here I was just like doing my job and just soaking it all in.
Yeah.
And I was very introverted. Like I was introverted, and people are like, no, you weren't. There's no way you were. But being introverted, I was listening a lot. I was absorbing. I was taking it in. I was observing how other people made decisions. I'd bring people together because I certainly didn't have the answer, but I was put in positions to be the leader and to come up with a solution, which was very scary.
Yeah.
But I had to do it with confidence. Yeah. And I was just a college student, but the project was under construction. And so I was like, okay, how am I going to make this decision? So I brought the people together and I asked them, what would you do? What would you do? What option would not cost money, not add anything time to the schedule? Yeah. And then I said, okay, well, so what I see common here is you think that we should do this and you agree. And I'm like, okay, great, we have a decision.
Yeah. Which it sounds very simple, but it's like being a sponge and absorbing and learning around from your peers and also your customers too, and what people would want, right? So one of the things that you said before we started that stood out to me is that you realized you kind of didn't want to have that define your entire career. So after you finished at Disney, you had this whole second chapter of starting your own business.
Yes.
Right? So I would love to learn about like how that chapter of your life, some of the lessons that you learned from Disney applied to this like whole new version of Kimberly that's now, creating spaces for people.
Right. Well, so for 16 years after my life at Disney, a colleague of mine at Disney was consider leaving, and so we built a company together. It was something that we decided he wanted to do. He wanted to leave, and he asked me, hey, would you go check this out? And then I was like, sure. I had just moved to Denver, and the company was here. And then he's like, well, would you just do this with me? And I was like, sure. So like I commuted from Denver to here for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I did it also 18 months, through pregnancy and my firstborn.
Oh, geez.
And I loved it. I was so energized by it. But we were doing projects all over the world.
Incredible.
And taking the best of what we knew from Disney and creating those environments. Because people, whether they're going to Disney or they're going to a Four Seasons hotel somewhere, they're trying to escape. They're trying to take a break.
Yeah.
From their daily life. They want an experience like no other, right? Like they really just truly need to just, experience something they wouldn't experience every day. Yeah. It's an emotion, right?
It totally is,
it's
right?
It's an inspiration. People travel for all sorts of reasons. I travel for inspiration, and that's what I experience from a lot of people traveling. I mean, there was something I did when I worked at Disney. When I first moved there, I didn't know anybody, so I'd sit on the park benches in different places, different parks and different areas of Disney, and I'd just observe and I would just listen. And I'd listen to the conversations. I'd learn that, okay, we've got doctors, we've got attorneys, we've got, delivery men, and they're coming with their family, and they are living in the moment, which we often don't do.
No.
And we aren't living in the moment. And that's what they did at Disney. So I took all of that information and filtered it into what I did there and what I did later. And that was, how do we create environments where people are getting the rest and relaxation, but also getting the inspiration they need to live a better life.
Totally, right? And it's like at Disney, like their whole tagline is the most magical place on earth, right? And it's like people, there's something that draws people there, that creates, like, you're forced to be so present and be happy and optimistic and loving, like the brand around it. So I love how you brought those same themes and translated it to like other spaces because that matters. So was there any project specifically, you mentioned doing some stuff overseas, that kind of stood out during your time creating those spaces?
You know, I think when I look back on it, there were so many projects I loved. Are you talking about at Disney, or are you talking about
for your business?
Yes. So many different locations. But I think what I loved the most were the resorts that we would be engaged in, and we were doing work in Saudi Arabia, Moscow, Italy, Tuscany, the Bahamas. Hawaii.
All very different places.
All very different places.
Attracting people for different reasons.
Attracting people for different reasons. Some got built, some didn't, but the process is still the same, right?
Okay.
Like it's still
interesting.
It's still my favorite part of the project is the planning and the schematic and design development. So it's all of the planning, what you're trying to create, what kind of emotions you're trying to evoke, what kind of inspiration you're pulling, together to create the environment. That is wonderful. And when I've done everything I've done in my career, I can see things three-dimensionally. Yeah. So now, working with the girls and creating opportunities for them, I see, when I say three-dimensionally, I also see like how that's going to affect them in the future. Yes. Right? And it's about providing opportunities for them to, if they can see it, they can be it. Yes. And oftentimes, just the more opportunity they have, the more people we can introduce them to, the more experiences we can create for them, more spaces we can design or curate so that they can have experiences that they otherwise wouldn't have, is going to help them dream bigger. And I just think that is, as an adult and as a mother, and as a servant leader, I just think that that's our duty to do that for our younger generation. So that's my way of giving back from the experiences I've had.
As I look at your career, I almost like bulk it into like 3 different chapters. It's like chapter 1, it's like you're learning and you're pulling and you're becoming a smarter, sharper leader by just like learning from the best, right? Mm-hmm. Chapter 2 is like implementation. Like, how can I take what I learned and be a leader in my own space? Mm-hmm. And chapter 3, which is what you're doing now, which is where I'd love to spend some time on, is like, how can I give back to the next generation of leaders on what I've learned and inspire them to also realize that anything is possible, especially for young women. Yes. So as we like kind of look at that, what made you realize, I think, to kind of go into this role with the Girl Scouts?
Great question. I had an amazing career. Yeah. But it came with some challenges, right? But challenges that I looked at as a learning experience, not as not negatively, like, I can't believe. I never placed blame on someone else for the way they may have reacted. But there were 3 instances in my career where essentially I can sum it up as someone or some people saying to me, no, not now. And I'd like to think, no, not yet. At the time. Mm-hmm. And so there just came a point where I was like, okay, well, I don't agree with you. And so this opportunity came up. I wasn't looking for it. Mm-hmm. I had a couple women in our community say, you should try this. Like, I think you would be a great inspiration for our younger generation. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, leave my career. And then as I started looking into it, and I had fun. Again, I don't think any of us reflect enough. No. Reflect on the good and celebrate the wins. And so I really took time to think about what motivated me, what made me as I grew up. What were the moments in my life that had huge influence? And it came back to how I built my courage and my confidence through my childhood, and Girl Scouts was part of it. Part of that, right? Yeah. Like I had some challenging moments when I was younger, and when I'd look forward to my troop meeting and seeing my friends because it uplifted me. Yeah. I didn't even think about that until I hear the stories from the girls now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that was me in second grade.
Yeah.
That was me in second grade.
Yeah.
I was bused to an inner city school. I didn't have any friends. I was teased. I only had 40% of my hearing. And here I am looking forward to my brownie troop meeting. And I hear that dozen times over.
The community.
Yeah.
The community and the leadership.
The sisterhood.
And the sisterhood and the independence that it helps forge you as a young woman. Really just like really understanding how you can be more confident going out into the world, which are all themes that obviously the Girl Scout has stood for many, many, many years. So you entered into this new chapter, leading the Girl Scouts. How do you define that today? Because you've been in it for how many years?
8 years.
8 years. I was going to say 10. 8 years.
I know. I like 8 years, but I think 2 to 3 of those years were kind of don't count. I mean, with the pandemic, but you know, but hey, it taught it. I got to lean into my resilience, right, and teach other people
new skills,
and encourage their resilience.
Yeah,
because the organization's been around 114 years. It's not going to go anywhere.
Oh, no.
It's not going away on my watch. But we have another several decades, another 114 years to deliver support to our young girls.
And I would argue there's probably never been a more important time for this type of work, too. So
I appreciate you saying that. Being so close to the young girls.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't grow up with computers.
I know.
And that instant gratification and the false, you know, we all have, women tend to have an imposter syndrome.
They do.
And it's a lot of work to to work through that.
Yes.
And the social media is creating a very
Absolutely.
unhealthy mental health challenge for our young kids because they think that, our teenagers, they think that they should be like that.
And that's what reality is.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, too, right? And it's like, I say this all the time. I'm like, I can't imagine being a young woman these days. Like, when I grew up, too, there wasn't really social media. So it's like, how to the pressure that they face these days. So it's wonderful. That's why I said there's never been a more important time.
Never been a more important time. And, you know, experiential learning is the best kind of learning. Like, the endorphins that you get from working with your hands or doing a project, or your sense of accomplishment for doing something, is you don't know it until you're in it.
Yeah.
And accomplishment is not what you see on social media. Accomplishment is when you've set a goal or an intention, and you work to that intention. You create something, you do something, you make, whether that's creating change in your environment, making the world a better place for whatever reason, or trying a new skill.
Yep. And it's okay to fail at it,
too. It's okay to fail, because you know what? I tell this to team members as well as young children, is we learn from our failures. We do. And if you don't fail, you're not going to learn. Yeah. So yes, you can learn, gain knowledge through learning through education, but you get the best, you learn best from what you've done, and maybe the results weren't the best, and so you retool, and you try again. That's how you learn.
Absolutely.
That's how you learn how to maybe do it differently. I don't want to necessarily say better, but do it differently, because girls are hard on themselves.
They are. I know they are. And part of the reason why I created this entire podcast and called it Risky Routes is because I believe we as women oftentimes are more risk averse, right? We're afraid to kind of lean in and put ourselves out there and try something. I don't know if it's fear of failure. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but it's like, how can I better tell the message to people that it's okay to do things and take risks? It's okay. Sometimes it goes wrong, but sometimes you swing and you hit a home run.
Right. And I think the best is being able to talk about those risks, right? And risks come in different forms.
They do.
And I've always said I'm risk averse, right? Like I'm steady. I am conservative in some regards, but also very visionary in others. but risk is the unknown, which can be very stimulating and very exciting. Yes. But it is also where you can grow the most, is when you do take those risks. They can be quiet risks, right? Like taking this job was
a risk.
Transformational. Like, it was a risk.
Yeah. Starting a company.
I was in my 50s, and like, who starts a completely different career in their 50s? Yeah. Completely different. I was not in nonprofit work, and so that was a big, bold move. But I woke up one day and said, okay, no longer am I going to hear people say I can't, because I can.
You can.
And that didn't happen often. There was just one person saying it, and once I took this job, they apologized. But I was like, no, like, I need something new. Yeah. And I tell young people, like, this might be your path now, and this is what you are interested in now, but be open to new things.
Yes.
Because we live a long life of opportunity.
Yes.
And there's nothing more invigorating than to be looking at the world in the future, knowing that there's many things you can do. Yeah. And so, you might hone in on one thing because that makes you comfortable, and you're not, it's not risky. Open yourself up, expose more. And that's what I feel like my job is here, is to provide the girls with opportunities to see other people in different spaces. Yeah. With partnerships. And we've got a wonderful partnership with Formula One, which is showing girls everything. They may not be a race car driver, right? Yeah. But
I love that, though.
Marketing. It could be marketing, media, PR, engineering. Analytics. There's just so many opportunities, and when they go, I've had a lot.
It's just exposure.
It is. Yeah. It's just exposure. And young girls, if they don't have doctors in their families, they think that's it's not attainable, because being a doctor. Yeah. Well, there's like 300, 400, 500,000 different kinds of jobs in the medical field, right? You could be in the lab. You could be creating a new cure. I mean, there's so many different opportunities, and so it's really just creating and designing those environments where they can make it anything they want
and excel, right? Yeah. So, is there anything that you're working on right now that particularly excites you, or you're looking forward to? I'm just like, what today is and what's next?
Yeah, what's next?
Oh my gosh, you're full of surprises. Right? So I love it.
I know. Well, I do. I'm optimistic about the future. Like, I know life is always going to have challenges, and there's a lot of challenges now. Extremely especially in the nonprofit world, when we're servicing more people. There's more people there's more people who need service. Yes, they need services. They need support. That becomes a challenge, especially when funding isn't available. Sure. But those are the challenges you have to navigate. Yeah. I think what inspires me most and what I'm most excited about is staying committed to the changing world for our girls. It's not stagnant. I mean, I know people always think Girl Scouts is cookies and crafts. Well, maybe 100 years ago or 50 years ago, but there's so much more. Yeah. There's so much more. I mean, we've got, what is it? Like, in 2030, we're going to have 1.8 million unfilled STEM jobs, science and technology jobs. There's opportunity. It's
training the future.
It is.
It's investing in the future.
It's investing in the future. And, more and more, getting those durable skills, obtaining those durable skills isn't happening in school.
It's not.
It's not happening in school. And the face of education's changing.
Yes.
And now that we have all this, super intelligence, thinking for so many people, the skills that won't go away are going to be the critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
And interaction with people. And that is what we're doing at Girl Scouts. That's what excites me the most, is when I see a girl being dropped off for a week at camp, to go to camp, and they're like all, moody about not having their cell phone. And then I see them get off the bus at the end of the week, and they're like, have made new friends, and they're laughing, and they're not asking for their phone.
I love that.
And that to me just shows that they're trying new things.
Yeah.
They're making new friends. They're navigating challenges. They're learning more about themselves, and they're making decisions about what it is they want. And that's what excites me, because we're always on our devices, and we have to think for ourselves, because
that's true impact right there too. That story, like just that in a very micro level. I love that. That's beautiful. So you built a career at Disney, and as we look at the Girl Scouts now, I'm just trying to, like, I see so many similar themes kind of between them, right? It's like both creating space and opportunity for young people to dream big, to think big, to be imaginative, to creativity, etc. So if you kind of had to, like, holistically look across your whole career, and I do a lot of work with, like, young women, right? Especially, mostly not Girl Scout age, but I do a lot with women that are, like, in college
career.
or getting ready to graduate. What advice would you give to a woman that is trying to navigate this world today?
Oh, just, so much. But I mean, first of all, like I said at the very beginning, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yep.
And so I think that the key is to make sure you're putting yourself in places that you're going to be inspired.
Yes.
As a young professional, we talk a lot about your personal board of directors. I talk to the young girls about that, and they're like, what is that? And I take the opportunity to educate them. It's like your trusted advisors.
Yes.
Could be your mom, could be your aunt, could be your teacher, could be your counselor, could be your therapist, could be your best friend, could be anybody. But who are the 5 people that if you come against a challenge, who are the 5 people you would reach out to? And use those as your personal board of directors to inspire you and to help you and to uplift you. And I think the other key piece is be curious. Don't ever stop being curious. Ask questions.
Yes.
Ask questions, be curious, and put yourself in environments that are inspiring.
Yes.
And if you're not feeling inspired, take a break and find a place that you're going to be inspired.
Yeah.
I do that, it can be a lot of work, and then pulling yourself away to take time off or to travel can get hard at times, but every time I do that and I'm intentional about doing it, I feel inspired again. And so I know that works, and that's what I would tell.
That's the formula.
That's what I tell the girls. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Kimberly.
Thank you.
It's
Can I share you one more thing?
Yes.
So you're talking about creativity. So as the CEO of when you're a CEO of a Girl Scout Council, you get to design your own badge. Or your own patch, sorry. And so I designed this, and I tell the story to all the new girls, and then they put it on their vest. And I say, think creatively. And I put that on there because even as an adult and as a young child, children often say, oh, I'm not artistic, I can't draw. And I'm like, but everybody's creative.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about solving a problem, it comes from a place of creativity. So that is what I tell the girls, is like, think creatively no matter what you're doing, because that will get you far.
That is such good advice.
Yeah.
I love the patch too, the little Mickey Mouse ears.
So that's just, I get to tell them that I was an Imagineer. I tell them I love traveling the world. This is a tornado because I lived in Kansas, and I have so many memories of tornado drills and seeing tornadoes, but also I've been in 2 hurricanes in Florida. And then I was a Girl Scout in Illinois and Kansas, and so that's the story I share with them, and then they put it on their vest.
That's really beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Cool. Well, thank you, Kimberly.
Well, here, this is for you.
Oh my gosh! I am so honored. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy your time in Las Vegas.
I will. Thank you.